Tunnels is it's the story of 14-year-old Will Burroughs. He lives in this fictional area of London called Highfield, and his main interest in life is to dig. He's fascinated by the buried past, and he's really influenced in this by his father, Dr. Burroughs, who works in the local museum. The story really gets going when Dr. Burroughs all of a sudden goes missing, and Will goes into search, trying to find out where exactly he's gone, and he enlists the help of a friend from school called Chester. And under the house they find this hidden tunnel, they re-excavate it, and it takes them down to a lair underneath, and at that point Brian usually says, stop, don't give any more
than that. We'll spoil the ending. Well, there's various sources of these where the story came about. We both usually say that we had...
Well, it was really... we often say we had half an idea each.
Yeah, I'd say.
The idea for the Will Burroughs character, although we hadn't thought of the name at that point, I had a 16th century house in Northamptonshire, a place out of London. We really bought it for... I've got two boys. There was an acre of garden, and it was really to make up for a very small house in London. But it's one of those places where it's very crumbly, very thick walls, very crumbly, everything needing attention the whole time. I was doing some digging outside, lowering the ground level, and came across all this compacted stone. And it was almost because of all the hard work going on, your mind sort of roams free, and it started to think about a 10, 11, 12, and eventually became a 14-year-old character who just loved to dig, loved to find out what was down there, whether it was sort of Victorian rubbish or hidden medieval things. Yeah. And it was one night in 2003, and I was talking to Brian about that idea, and it came together with sort of the other half of the idea.
Yeah, because I'd been, years earlier, I'd found out about these tunnels that exist under Liverpool, where I was born, and basically... There's an extensive tunnel network underneath Liverpool, and part of this was, it had all been filled in over centuries, and part of it was rediscovered back accidentally by some workmen, and I'd read an article about these guys digging a hole and they'd broken through into what was part of a street. And so I had an idea back then to do something called the secret street or something like that. I was playing with that, but never gelled into anything. You know the way these things happen, you stick it aside, do something else. And it was that. Now, when Rod started talking about this idea for a kid obsessed with digging, it just bang, straight in the back. Like, what about, and then the two of them just went, and that was it. Just steamrolled it from there, didn't it?
I don't think there was a conscious decision to sit down and write. It almost chose us, in a way.
Yeah. It just, we always say, we always have the feeling that the book almost writes itself. It is a weird feeling that it runs away with you. Because it was as if suddenly, it was a year and a half later and we had a book. It was a very strange feeling. But, it was a bit of a blur. Yeah. There are some, we took ideas from, say, for instance, some stuff around the Williamson tunnels. We took ideas for characters, but none of them are, in fact, named after people, but aspects of different people. And in the book itself, there are people we both know, aspects of people we both know, of course. People say you should always be very careful around a writer because, we will steal everything.
you take people. I think you take people you know and make them more extreme. Sometimes, and often I think some of the main characters you inject some of your own personality, your own traits.
That happens,
it's a combination of the two of us sort of working on it, and maybe to start with, and then they find their own feet in a way, and they become. And as you go on writing. And you try and put dialogue in their mouths, or you try and make them do something. It has to be the right thing. If it's the wrong thing, they tell you, and you've got to go back.
It's like it is as if the character's going, no, I wouldn't say that, and it just you can't write it almost. It's strange. It's like, whoop, they've gone on strike, So it is strange. They do take a life of their own.